Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Royalty Cut here, and in today's tutorial I'll be taking you through the process of how to make this beautiful dress you see over here. And this dress was inspired by Vicky James, although the slightly difference is just I didn't get to attach fringes at the end tip of mine, but let's just call this a budget friendly or Vicky James wear. Now the purpose of this video is just to guide you and teach you through the process of how to get this butterfly part at the end, and also how to get a straight part at the end. If this video is a video you're interested in, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So basically for this tutorial, I'll be making use of this material you see over here, and this is a crepe fabric. I have about 3 yards of this material. Now you can go ahead and use any material to substitute this, but note that any kind of material that you are making use of should be a kind of stretchy material, whether not too stretchy but a little bit too stretchy, because this cloth will be having a zipper. So you want to get a stretchy material so that at least it will be able to pass through your body sizes. So this is the material I'll be making use of, and like I said, it's 3 yards. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this for us to start with the drafting of this dress. So at this point, for the folding of this dress, firstly you're going to go ahead and get the border of this border to the other border. Now we'll be folding this fabric into two first. Now I'll make sure that the sides are equal, just like you see me do over here. Now this is the first folding that we have. Make sure that the sides are equal. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay this on the floor for us to get our second fold. I don't know if you can see. Now for the second fold, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to take this folded edge that you see over here. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in a little bit. Now the folding of this second part should be your biggest body measurement divided by 4. Now for me, my biggest body measurement is my hip. So my hip divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure in 10.5 plus half inch that I'll be using to join the sides. So that will be 11 inches in total. So from this folded edge that I have here, this second fold you have here should be your biggest round body measurement divided by 4 plus half inch. So mine is 11 inches. I'm going to go ahead and adjust it to get 11 inches in total. After adjusting the size, this is what it is looking like. I don't know if you can see. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to determine how I want the sleeve length of the butterfly part to look. So from this point that I have this second fold, I will determine how long I want my sleeve to be. So from this point, I'm going to be measuring about 16 inches. Now it depends on what you want. If you want yours to be much flow, you just go ahead and make use of all the material. But if you want it to be moderate, just go ahead and go in by 15 to 18 inches. So I think that should be a perfect number for your butterfly gown. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it down all the way down to the full length of this fabric. After marking the line from this point all the way down to the full length, as you can see, now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to cut out from this line that we have here all the way down to the other line, so that we can be able to work with the fabric that we have remaining. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. After cutting it out, this is what we have here, as you can see. So I left about 2 inches away from the line that I marked for the folding of this butterfly part of it. So after marking your sleeve length measurement, just go ahead and add extra 2 inches to it for your folding of that part. So this is what we have here, and this is the materials that we are going to work with. So I'm just going to go ahead and shift this back a little bit. So let's go ahead and work on the straight part of this dress. So for the straight part of this dress, just go ahead and divide your shoulder to shoulder measurement into 2. And me, I'm working with the shoulder of 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So from this folded edge that I have here, I'll be marking 8 inches. This border over here will be serving as our shoulder line. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 8 inches. At this point that I marked 8 inches, I'll go ahead and divide my armhole measurement into 2, and the armhole that I'm working with is also 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So at this point I marked my shoulder to shoulder measurement. I'll go ahead and mark my armhole measurement vertically divided by 2, which is the 8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and input our vertical measurements. From the shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust point, and the bust point that I'm working with is 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 10 inches and also extend the line. From the shoulder, my waist length that I'm working with is 17 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 17 inches at this point. Now for my hip length, I'm working with 25 inches. Now, this measurement you're imputing should be from your shoulder measurement. So my hip length is 25 inches. Then for my knee length, the knee length that I'm working with is 39 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 39 inches at this point. And for the full length of this dress, I'm working with 60 inches, which is exactly what I have at the end of this border. Now, let's go ahead and impute our measurement. So for the neck width, remember that this cloth is not going to be having a zipper, so you want a neck width that will be able to pass through your head. So we'll go ahead and do the width of 3 inches. You can also do 3.5 or 4 inches depending on what you want. So for the depth, I'll go ahead and work with the depth of 3 inches too. So I did 3 inches by width, 3 inches by depth, and I went ahead to curve it for us to get our neck curve. So at this point that I have my shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. Now this 1 inch will be serving for our shoulder slope. I'll go ahead and connect this 1 inch down to our neck width this way. And I'll go ahead and measure what I have from this point to our armhole line, and I have about 7 inches. So go ahead and divide the 7 inches into 2, which is 3.5. Mark the 3.5. At the point to mark 3.5, coming by half of an inch. So from that point, just go ahead and join this half of an inch back into this 1 inch shoulder line that you have here. Basically, after that, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to divide our round bust measurement, which is 36. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide 36 into 4. And 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So at this point that I have my bust point line, I'm going to be marking 9 inches at this point. And I'll also go ahead and mark 9 inches at this armhole line that you see over here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 9 inches at that point too. And I'll go ahead and add half of an inch to this 9 inch that I marked at this bust point and at this armhole area. So I'm going to be adding half of an inch to it. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and use my curve ruler or a free hand to connect this half of an inch that we have back into this 9 inch round body measurement that we have earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it just like you see me do over here. And we've gotten our armhole curve. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to connect this 9 inch we marked at our armhole line down to this 9 inch that we have at our bust point in a straight way. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and divide my round waist measurement into 4, and I'm working with a round waist of 32 inches. 32 inches divided by 4 is 8.25. So at this waistline, I'm going to be marking 8.25, and I'll also go ahead and add extra half of an inch for joining of the sides. So after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to connect this measurement we have at our bust point down into our waistline measurements, just like you see me do over here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to come over to the hip line. So my hip, I'm working with a hip of 42 inches. 42 inches divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 10.5 at this round waist, at this waist length. And I'm going to be adding half of an inch for joining into the side, just like you see me do over here. So from there, from the waist length that I have, this measurement, I'm going to be connecting it in a curvy way for you to get to our round hip measurement. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if my chalk is visible. So this is what we have. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and come over to the knee length. I'll go ahead and measure what I have at our waist length here. I have 9.5. So I'm going to go ahead and impute 9.5 to at our knee length. Now remember that this cloth won't have a zipper or a slit, so try to make it as free as possible. So from this hip length measurement that we have here, I'm going to be connecting it down to this knee measurement that we have, just like you see me do over here. So after that, I'll go ahead and impute the same 9.5 inch that we have at this. So I marked the measurement at the knee at the full length and I connected it. Point after connecting it down to the full length, I'm going to go ahead and explain how to cut out this dress. Now pay very attention to this explanation that I'm going to be making right here. Now let's go over to the shoulder line. For the cutting of this dress, I'm going to be cutting this four piece that we have here. I'm going to be cutting the four piece at this neck area that we measured earlier. For this neck width, I'm going to be cutting the four piece together. Now, after cutting the four piece together, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to cut each other side, starting from this shoulder slope that we have here to the armhole to the full length. I'm going to be cutting only these two upper piece that you see here. I don't know, let me re-explain. Go ahead and cut your neck area together with the four piece. Then after that, just be careful while cutting to cut from this shoulder slope with this two piece that is upward here. Make sure not to cut into this line that has extension. So I'm going to be cutting this two piece that is above here from this shoulder slope to the armhole, then to the side of this dress all the way down to the full length. So at this point, I didn't know that the camera was not recording. So after cutting mine, this is what it looked like. As you can see from the neck width, I cut the two piece together. And from the other side, I just had to cut this two piece that is above here. I don't know if you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the shoulder part of this butterfly side of it. So from this point that we already cut out this upper piece, the shoulder slope, I'm going to go ahead and follow that same line and slant it down a little bit, just like you see me do over here. So I'm going to go ahead and slant it down a little bit. You can also go ahead and mark 1 inch at the end of it for you to be able to know how to slant yours. So for me, I went ahead to do it in a free hand, and this is what we have. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to open it up for you to see what it looks like. So I don't know if you can see. So after cutting yours and you don't have something that looks like this, that means you didn't get the cutting pattern of this dress. Now I don't know if you can see. So this is what it is looking like. This other side is a straight part, and this other side you see over here is the butterfly part of this dress. So this is what yours should be looking like at the end of the day after cutting yours. So let's go ahead and work at the mono sleeve part of this dress. Now the mono sleeve is optional. If you want yours to have a sleeve, just go ahead and just don't do this process that I'm going to be showing you right now. Just leave it the same way it is. Then maybe after joining the shoulders, you can go ahead and attach a sleeve to it, because this is an armhole for a sleeve. So for the mono sleeve pattern of this, I'm going to be showing you how to do it. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is at this armhole point that you see over here, I'm going to be coming up by 2 inches from this point. I don't know if you can see. So I marked 2 inches here. Now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to use a ruler or a chalk to connect from this neck width that you see over here down to this 2 inch. Now, you can also go ahead and slant yours from this point down to the end of your armhole area. I don't know if you understand, but mine, I did it in such a way that my boobs will be revealing. So if you want yours to be a bit revealing, just go ahead and slant from the neck width that you see over here down to this armhole area. But to avoid the boobs revealing part of it, just come up at this point that you have your armhole by 2 inch, then slant from this neck width you see over here down into that 2 inch line. So I'm just going to go ahead and slant mine, just like I explained to you earlier. So this is what I have here. Now, I slanted from the neck width back into this armhole area, just like you see over here. Now, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to cut open this part, just like you see here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut open it. So after cut opening it, this is what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and dispose this other piece, and this is what our dress is already looking like. Now, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to go ahead and join these sides that you see over here, this straight part of it. I'm going to be joining it with about 1/2 inch that we added the allowance to it. Now, if you want yours to be tight, join with 1 inch. But if you want yours to be in a normal state, since the material you'll be working with is stretchy, just go ahead and join with 1 inch. But if your material is not that stretchy, join with 1/2 inch so that it will be able to pass through your body. So after joining this side with about 1/2 inch or 1 inch, depending on what you're working with, also go ahead and join this other shoulder part of this butterfly part with 1/2 inch. So the shoulder part should be 1/2 inch constant. while the side should be either half of an inch or 1 inch, depending on what you're working with. So I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulder and the sides. And after that, I'll also go ahead and use about half of an inch to fold this neck area. Now you can also go ahead and use a bias for this neck area part. But for me, I'll go ahead and use the same fabric to fold in about half of an inch, and I'll be top stitching it for both the front piece and the back piece of this dress. So basically at this point, I was done joining the shoulder just like I showed you earlier. I also folded the neck area and I also went ahead to join the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over to the right side for you to see what it looks like. So flipping it over to the right side, this is what we have here. I don't know if you can see. So as you can see, our dress is already taking in a shape. So this is the neck area that I told you about. This is the straight cut part of this dress, and this side is the butterfly part of it. So now let's go ahead and shape in the other side of our dress. Now make sure that your clothes is right side facing each other, just the same way you see mine over here. So just go ahead and arrange it for you to be together and also in a very straight way. After arranging the clothes together, this is what we have here. Now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now, just like I said before, is to shaping the other side of this our dress. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is from the shoulder line, I'm going to be marking our armhole line. And remember that the armhole we worked with was 8 inches. So from the shoulder line here, I'm going to be coming down by 8 inches or 9 inches or 10 inches where our hands will be coming out from. So I think I will be doing 9 inches instead. So I marked 9 inches from the shoulder line. I don't know if you can see. So from the shoulder line too, I'll go ahead and mark my waist length, which is 16 inches. Mark my bust point, which is 10 inches. Extend the lines this way. Now, after that, mark your hip length. Mine is 25 inches. So I'm going to be marking 25 inches at this point. Mark your knee length. Mine is 39 inches. And this is the full length of our dress. So for the shaping, I'm going to be coming in by this side for our body measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and divide my round bust, which is 36 inches, into 2. This time around, we are not going to be dividing into 4 because our fabric is into 2 and not into 4. So 36 divided by 2 is 18 inches. So from this part that we shaped earlier, I'm going to be going in by 18 inches at our bust point. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 18 inches here. I don't know if you can see. So after that, I'll also go to the waist length. My waist length is, my round waist measurement is 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16 inches too. So from this folded edge, I'll go in and mark 16 inches. And I'll go ahead and connect the lines together. I don't know if my check is visible. You see here. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to divide my round hip measurement into 2. And I'm working with the round hip of 42 inches. 42 inches divided by 2 is 21 inches. So at this hip length that I marked here, I'll be going in by 21 inches. Just like you see me do over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and impute the same measurement that I have at our waistline here, which is 16 inches. I'm going to be imputing it at our knee length. So I'm going to be imputing 16 inches here at the knee length, and I'll also go ahead and impute 16 inches at the full length of our gown. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it. From the waistline, I'll be connecting to the hip length, just like you see me do over here. So from the hip length, I'll go ahead and connect back into the round knee measurement. And after that, I'll also go ahead and connect back into the full length of our dress. So this is what we have here. I don't know if you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew from this bust point line that you see over here. Now the sewing will be at this right side. Don't turn it over to the wrong side. Just leave it this way it is. Just take it over to the sewing machine and sew from this point that you see over here. I don't know if you can see. So from this point that you see over here down to this waistline, then from this shape that you see over here. So I'm going to go ahead and shaping mine at this end. Then after which I'm going to go ahead and fold this butterfly part of it, the rough edges. I'll be folding it with half of an inch, and I'll also come over to the full length of this dress and I'll be folding it with half of an inch. So at this point, I was done shaping the front center of it, just like I showed you earlier. But I noticed something at the end that while putting this on, the end part at the full length here was dropping on the floor real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend it a little bit so that even while we put it on, it would not actually be dropping on the floor too much. So I went ahead to kind of get this curvy part at the end. You can come up at this full length that you see over here. You can come up here by either 7 inches as a guide. So from the end of that point, just go ahead and draw a curve to be meeting at this point that we shaped at the front center part of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do mine just like you see over here. Then after that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. I'll be cutting from this point that I drew this line that you see over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. So after cutting it off, this is what I have here. So I'm just going to go ahead and now fold this end part of it. So at this point, I was technically done folding the full length of this dress, and this is what it is looking like. So this part is the butterfly part of it, while this other side is the straight part of it. And I also went ahead to fold the full length of the gown, just like you see over here. So over here is that part that we curved earlier. So I just had to go ahead and fold it this way, just like you see over here. And that is basically the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.